Hey, it's Chris Bowling.
Hey, it's Chris Beyer.
We have a very special guest today, Mr. Dutch Rojas. Thank you.
Hi, it's Dutch.
Hey, Dutch. Thanks for joining us in Focus today. You got it down. You could be
I'm
part
so
of this
excited.
as a regular.
I love it. And thank you. Oh, I got to get this off my screen. Sorry, because it's probably recording. Those are my questions that I have to ask you, Dutch, and I'm going to get sidetracked if I don't look at them. So, hey, thank you for joining. Love your photos. Behind you. I think it says a lot about who you are, and I think that's a great way to start off.
The one we're missing is I think you can say it. That was my graduation picture from boot camp in the Marine Corps.
Okay,
See,
fantastic.
people look at my fat ass now and they're like, he was a Marine, really? And I'm like, hey, I got
There's
pictures.
proof.
I have discharge papers.
All right,
Yeah.
so that tells us a little bit about your background, but you help us fill in the hole. So tell us who you are.
Absolutely. Super easy to do. Dutch Rojas, let's see, I came to the United States at 16. Learned English starting 14, 15, somewhere around there. And I tell everybody, I know I speak English better than half of you that were born here.
Yes.
I'm certain that the thing that makes me different, if I am, is I think that immigrants have a hard work ethic. I think I tell people, I think Midwesterners and immigrants have the hardest work ethic in the country. People say, well, if you come to this country with nothing, how do you make something? Well, I haven't made a lot, right? I'm not a private equity hedge fund guy that mommy's mommy went to whatever. But what I did do is come to this country with a few bucks. And I went to college on a scholarship for the first 2 years before they realized how bad I was at the sport I was playing. And I joined the Marine Corps to fund my my college escapades.
Well done.
And then, I got a REIT and I got into the surgery center development business, and I worked for some really great doctors that kind of taught me the business of doctoring on the business side for sure. People say that doctors are bad business people, and I think they are bad finance and accounting people to be fair to them, but they are really good at service.
Yes.
Great at helping
Well said.
people. A lot of people say doctors are in it for the money, and I haven't met one yet.
No. Yeah, I agree.
How do you go to school for 15 years after undergrad because you're in it for the money?
Yeah.
I mean, then you can go work at a bank, insurance company, no offense, or anywhere else, and you can make some dough. I mean, these guys have grit.
Yeah.
They're in it. They're working a ridiculous amount of hours. And so whatever money they make, I'm super happy they do it. I wish they made more, to be fair. But I love everything about the United States. When people complain about it, I take it personally. I took my immigration test when I was 22. This country's been nothing but a blessing to me and my family. And no, I love this place. Now I just want to make healthcare affordable and accessible. I found people like Chris Bowling, or maybe Chris found me. Oh, no, I found you because Zero Card said no. And
Yep.
Jim Milloway calls me because he's a good friend. He calls me and is like, hey, you need to talk to Chris Bowling. Maybe you can help him. I won't tell Jim how well this partnership has gone.
That's fantastic.
Because on Mondays it goes really well, but on Tuesdays, Chris is shouting.
Well, let us first say thank you for your service to this country.
I love this country, everything about it.
People like you are exactly why we get to do what we do every day,
Amen.
as people fighting for our freedom. So we, both of us, obviously want to say thank you for that. And
Yes,
well,
we do.
listen, to be fair, the Marine Corps was the only one that let me in. The Air Force was like, we don't let in rocks. The Army was like, look, you're almost there if you were just a little smarter. And I was like, oh, well, the Marine Corps lets in Mexicans, so I'm in.
And there we
Yeah,
are.
no, that worked out well.
So you touched on something earlier. You said you have a goal of fixing healthcare. I think there's a big misperception that healthcare and health insurance are the same thing. You've talked
Amen.
about doctors being good at what they do. So what are you doing that's unique when you talk about fixing healthcare? We'll talk another session with that more, but when you say this is what you're doing,
Yeah.
what's your company? What do you do?
Oh, so I think it's really important. I think everyone in the world has gotten a bill from a physician for a treatment.
Yeah.
And that bill it's not just one, it's 5, 7, 10.
Yeah.
If you have a baby like my wife and I recently did, it's 12 or 15.
Yeah.
And I got annoyed. So I worked for a REIT. Then I worked for a couple of docs building surgery centers in their practice. And I realized that sending out partial bills wasn't the business I wanted to be in. I wanted to make it easier for self-funded employers.
Yeah.
So I had that epiphany about 2005, 6. By 2008, 9, we started saying, why can't, for a simple knee replacement, not that knee replacements are simple, but you get the
Sure.
idea. Why can't we just get one bill? Like in your neck of the woods, ORA, fantastic group. Like, why are you sending out bills for doctors, separate bills for facilities, separate bill for anesthesia, separate bill for the durable medical equipment and for the implants, and then follow-up visits are a different bill?
Yeah.
Why can't you just tell me it's going to cost me $26,412? That was the original idea, right? It was to say, hey, I just want to know the unknown. People say algebra is not important. And I'm like, well, it is. So I want to know what the X is. Tell me. And I thought, look, I'm an accountant. And I thought, if I want to help people stabilize, reduce, and hedge their healthcare expenses, how do we stabilize them? Well, in the accounting world, I just want to know as far out as possible what the prices are and what I think my spend is going to be. In accounting, we do quality of earnings reports.
Mhm.
How powerful is this set of earnings? Well, we link it back to credit, right? Is the vendor an A credit vendor?
Yeah.
Well, if we're representing a self-funded employer, we want to know what the stability of our numbers is and what weight we can give them.
Right.
And so if you're a company in Iowa or anywhere else and you say, we think we're going to spend $8,243 a person, it's really nice to know that that number is pretty reliable.
Yeah.
And I think in today's care, we don't know. You have companies who say, we tried self-funding, but it didn't work.
Mhm.
And that's because they had some bogus consultant, not named Chris Bowling. And then they decided that, their stop loss wasn't set correctly. They didn't know what a laser was. They don't know anything about healthcare benefits, as you said, health insurance. And so they make poor decisions.
Yeah. So
And
often.
poor decisions lead to fully insured products. And
Yes.
fully insured products are, they're okay, but if you're a sophisticated employer, they're not for you.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, there's a product out there for everybody. We like self-funding because of the transparency behind it. You can actually see your claims data, right? I mean,
Right.
you can actually understand what a renewal looks like when you can
Yeah.
look at your data. And, for the right employer that has the right employees, self-funding makes sense, which is what really drove us to you, which is
Right.
I had also this dumb idea of, could we build a network that we could bolt onto our current self-funded products that would have that transparency that you talked about, Dutch, and it would have that bundled billing, and we could get to a number that was fair, right? This is not a race to zero.
Right.
It's not reference-based pricing where the doctor gets screwed, the employee gets screwed, and then the employer has no idea what they owe, right? Because there's all this balance billing going on. And we just felt that you came up with a product that we thought we could take and move it into the Iowa marketplace and the Illinois marketplace. And in a year and 6 months, it's been extremely successful. Now we want to put it on steroids, right? We want to figure out, how do we grow it? How do we get our networks bigger? How do we make the process similar?
Yeah, but part of what I'd say 60%, 70% of what made it successful is that your consulting firm drives engagement.
Yes.
When we talk about, hey, let's meet with the employers, or we talk about, let's have the physicians meet or do a Q&A with employers, you're the first one to go, let's make that happen. And your customers are like, oh, yeah, we want to do that.
Right.
There are other people that go, this doesn't work. Like they say, self-funding doesn't work. And I go, well, there are 800 physicians in your city of Indianapolis, and you didn't want any of them to come meet your employees. You didn't want any of them to come meet HR. Like, how do you think you're going to be successful if you don't do the engagement? So,
That's a really good point. I was going to say too, our our goal really with you is now to figure out, what's next for healthcare. I think, Chris, we're going to record one more session for next week, just talking about where this VIP network and healthcare is going from here. So we'll continue that in part 2.
Yes, and Dutch has some exciting news that we're going to share in part 2, which is you started Sano, you started Everyone Health, and now there's a part 2 to this. And we're excited about this new partnership. We think it's going to bring, some horsepower to where you needed it. It's going to bring resources to, once again, where you needed it. And we can't wait for what this is going to look like in the next week, 6 months, year, 2 years, 5 years.
Hey, you and I hope it's a week. Like, get it done now.
That's for sure.
All right, Mr. Byer, I'm sure we're close to 10 minutes, aren't we?
Yep, well, that's why I tried to get you rolling
right.
in part 2.
Well, thank you, Dutch. We'll have part
Thank you,
2
guys.
next week. All right.
Talk to you soon. Bye.